Hello, ladies. How are you doing with your self-care? We are here with another self-care expert, and I'm excited to bring her to you. This is Rebecca Plautz, and she is going to be here sharing her tips with us. So, Rebecca, tell us what it is you do and who it is you support.
Hey, Kelly, thank you so much for having me on. I'm excited to share about self-care. This is a topic that you can't get enough of. So
Okay.
I love this. So let's see. I get to connect entrepreneurs to really the consistent shifts in our life that create a giant forward momentum in your life and business. It's really about our busy mind, our unloved body, and low energy. And what that really is that I'm your connection strategist. And what I do is I help connect you to yourself first and foremost. So self-care, perfect, right? We want to talk about how we connect to ourselves first and foremost, so we can then be connecting to the people and the places, right? Our communities that we're bringing ourselves to. And then that translates into connecting you to your vision of where you want to be in the future and how you want to continue to serve the people that are in your world. So in a nutshell, I'm your connection strategist, and I connect you to yourself, people, and the places that you want to be and grow.
Yeah, and that can also include connecting us with our kids, right? On a different level than possibly we currently are. And I know that as my kids grow, that connection changes as well. And my approach to that connection needs to change as well. I can't connect with my 10-year-old the same way I connect with my 16-year-old. Right.
Right.
And so I love that as I stay connected to myself, that is a way that I can then also connect with my kids and the people that I serve better. So I love that. Love that. Thank you for what you do. Right.
Yeah.
So what is the tip that you have for us today?
Oh, I love it. So I was like eagerly like, yeah, this is all going so well. So I'm actually talking about scheduling these things out because, right, so I am a mom of 3 little kiddos. I have a 7-year-old daughter, a 6-year-old boy, and an almost 5-year-old boy. So, right, I have 3 kids, husband, I have 3 businesses. I do all of the things. And that's the number one thing people ask me is like, how the heck do you do all of that? And you're here. Scheduling it is the number one thing that I talk about with people about self-care, is that if it's not on my calendar, that's when I realize it gets pushed away further and further, and it takes longer for me to get back to who I am and how I really am showing up to serve my world and the people. That includes our kids, right? And I love that you mentioned that, Kelly, because scheduling not only my self-care, but I consider my connection with my kids to be part of my self-care as well. Because if I am overwhelmed, stressed out, frustrated about the fact that my kids are irritated and they're crying all the time, or they're really on edge, right? Especially during 2020, then that adds to our own plates, right? It piles up really fast. So then we push our own self-care to the side. So actually scheduling the time with my children is part of my self-care as well, because it's maintaining the connection that I have with the people that are the closest and mean the most to me. And so scheduling these things out is just so important. I can't say that enough. Like, I literally will put in my calendar a block of time, and I will pick certain days. So, right, maybe we're not great at self-care every single day, and that's okay. Like, if you're like starting out in the self-care world, like, cool, schedule out 2 or 3 times a week that you can show up for yourself in a short time, right? Maybe it's only 15 minutes, but that's 15 more minutes of getting to do something that you have intentionally chosen for yourself, first of all, and hopefully it's something that you enjoy, right? So what I want to talk about is scheduling it, but also with scheduling it, as something that I found really helped me was having a list, like, so goal storming and brainstorming all of these ideas of like, from the tips that you're getting from this series, right? What are the things that you're taking and learning from this that you can put in a list of, like, how can you show up for yourself in self-care, and then work on making sure that it's in your schedule at some point for the week, right? Even if it's just 1 or 2 times in the week, but having that space and holding this space in your calendar, in your days, because we will fill it. Trust me, you will find a way to fill that time. But when
Absolutely.
it's held in that space, that's when we can really, like, look at a list and say, okay, I have 15 minutes right now. Maybe someone didn't show up for a call that you needed to have. Great. Maybe this is the time for you to reset yourself and go for a 10-minute walk around your block, or just get some fresh air, or dance to a couple of your favorite songs and just, like, let it go, right? Like Elsa says, just let it go. So time management with really scheduling it out, and kind of just keeping a checklist. You can't really see it, but, like, I literally framed this. I showed this to Kelly and she's like, that's amazing, you have it framed. And you got, like, just having this close by for me to take a quick look and know, like, oh, hydrate your body. Yeah, I am kind of parched today. I should really focus on making sure I get my water. Or dancing. I love to dance it out. I already mentioned that, but it's just the things that we can do to really move our energy is really how I think about self-care, and scheduling it out is, like, the number one thing that I tell any entrepreneurs that I talk to is, like, well, do you schedule any of those things out? Because we will take the things that come to us. So making sure that our time is the priority, because it's the number one thing we can't get back. We have to protect it and make sure that we have boundaries around what that looks like. So scheduling it is, like, the number one thing that I can say.
Yeah, I love that. And I love, like you said, I love that you have a list, because I think that not everybody knows what self-care is for them. And when you can figure out what those things are and make a list of them, then when you have 15 minutes, it's not this, oh, let me think of what I could do. You just look at your list and say, okay, number 5 would really support me right now. Or number 10, I have time for number 10 and I can do that. I know taking a shower really supports me, and I don't always allow myself time for that on a daily basis, because I'm, for the moment I get up out of my bed, I am on. And so my morning routine can sometimes get all messed up. Like today, I got up early to get ready for this video with you, or this interview with you. And so my morning routine got bumped. So after this video, then I can sit down for the time that I need to have that morning routine, right? But it's investing in that time. It's right.
Yep.
So I love that you have a list, because it's easy to just look and have a thing to do, or even, like, write things down on, on sticks and pick something out and just do that, right? Like, then it's not a matter of choosing. It's like, fate chooses for you or whatever, right? And then just do it. I love that. I love that. Love that. Love that. So I know you have other little things within that you want to share with us. So what is that?
Yeah. So I would just want to say, like, I love that you talked about the sticks and pulling the randomizer out of like that, because so as I mentioned, scheduling time with our children is a priority for us. That's something that we actually have in place, Kelly. We have a bowl, we have a jar actually of popsicle sticks that have date night ideas. So we do date nights with our kids every week. Someone gets a date with us. So that's something random that we put in there because, right, it's the overwhelm of being like, oh, we could do this or we could do this. And like, we have so many options that, making a clear path to know, like, whatever happens. And that's a fearless part of it, right? That's a fun, energizing piece that we can add into, making uncertainty fun, especially for our families, right? Like showing up and knowing that we're holding the space for a certain category, right? Like self-care, but maybe we don't get to sit there and decide because we are asked so many questions. We are pulled so many ways in a day. Like let's make that part of the self-care. Like, why not? Like, knowing that we don't have to control all of the pieces all of the time. Like, I'm a control freak, I will say it.
Yeah.
And to know like I don't need to control all the things all the time is a form of self-care for me, honestly. So
Yeah,
I love that you brought up the popsicle sticks.
Yeah, like having my kids ask their dad is totally self-care for me, because I'm constantly making decisions. And so it's like a break from the decision. And
Yes.
so I love that. And I think that sometimes that's what we need, right? We just need someone to tell us what to do, right? And because it's a little bit easier that way, especially if it's us who have decided these things support us, right? So
Yeah.
it's kind of us telling us what to do instead of somebody else, which, sometimes that's not something we like.
Isn't that the truth? Isn't that exactly why we hire coaches, right?
Yeah.
Like, we hire people to, I tell people, like, I am literally, what I do is that I will listen, I hear what you say, and then I tell you what you just told me. And then we put action to your words, and they're like, that was such a great idea. And I was like, you literally just said that. I just took the note exactly what you just said, and I just told you what you just told me, and then we put action to it. And they're like, oh my gosh, I'm a genius. I'm like, yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes we just really need that. A lot of times we just really need support that is an outside source, so that it's not just in our head. So honestly, like, I actually have a tool, Kelly, that we can share with the viewers too. I call it the clarity tool. It's really about getting those things out of our head that are holding us back, that we're just kind of like overwhelmed about, getting it onto paper. And then there's questions that you can go through, like, is it true? Is it supporting you? How can you, pivot from here and take action in it? It's an actual worksheet that I have that's free for anyone that wants it. And that really has helped me like move through those steps a lot faster too. But there was a couple things I wanted to pull off this list real quick as we wind this down, to give you guys an idea of, like, you couldn't really see my list, but to share a little bit maybe with the viewers that you're not necessarily thinking about, or you want to start building up to get to something like this. So one of the huge things that has been supporting me over the last like year and a half that I've made intentional, that I used to think was totally crazy, and I was like, that can't happen for me, is getting a monthly massage. Let me tell you, my mother was a massage therapist. She just retired. And like, I know how important these things are, and I know that it's an investment, right? Monthly, to go consistently. But I'm like, once I found out like how much it was supporting me to maintain how my body feels, I think I said feels, then it was something that I really intentionally, I scheduled it ahead of time, and I made sure to make that a priority. And that my husband knew that, right? Like, communicating that this was a priority for me, and that it was something that was really supporting me and keeping going steadily, instead of draining my battery and needing to unplug and be totally overwhelmed for a solid week, right? And then coming back and then recharging again. It's more of the things that we can do that will keep us even, so that we can consistently be showing up, instead of, oh, she's here this week and she's gone next week and we don't know when,
Yeah.
And another thing that supports me too with that is, I learned this from Mel Robins, and it's her 5-4-3-2-1 meditation, which is really 5 deep breaths, 4 minutes of silence, which that was the hard part for me, like sitting still for minutes on end. I literally will set a timer. There's another tip for you guys, like, set timers. And so 5 breaths, 4 minutes of silence, 3 things that you're grateful for, and then write out 2 of your to-dos, 2 things that will move the needle in your life and business today, and then 1 reason why those 2 things matter. Like, why does it matter that you do those things today? And then it moves you into action, and you're calm, and it's just that extra peace and quiet that, again, it's something that I really intentionally work on, is to sit still and like get my head clear enough to make the moves to support what needs to happen.
Yeah, I love that. And I'll put that in the bottom. And if you send me that sheet that you talked about, the clarity sheet,
Yeah.
I can include that in this video as well.
Cool.
We've done that before, and then people can print it out and use it, and it can support them in really getting clear on what this looks like for them. So love that.
Perfect.
Love that. Thank you. Yeah, you've shared a lot of tips with us today. I think that when we become intentional with our self-care and really make it a priority, that is when it can really start to work for us. And so I love all the tips you gave us of how we can schedule it and then have a list so that we know what we can do in that scheduled time. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today and sharing with us these tips. I know our moms are going to get so much from this video. And please share below in the comments what really stood out for you that Rebecca shared and what you are going to try. We, don't overwhelm yourself with everything. Pick one thing that you can try and start there. I know we're getting lots of tips from experts on these videos, and just try one thing. Try the thing that resonates with you. And if something that Rebecca said resonated with you, share that with us and tell us how it's going as you try it out and practice it so that we can inspire each other. So thank you so much. Love having you here. You are one of my favorite people. So I am grateful that you have shared with us of your time and been here with us. So thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Kelly.